And we are live. So how you doing, my sister?
I'm good. How are you?
I gotta ask you, Ashley Walker, Ashley J. Where did J come from? Because W ain't near J. So talk like Ashley J. Like what that got to do with anything when
Jay,
your
that's
name is
my
Ashley
middle
Walker?
name. My name is Ashley Janelle, so that's where the J came from.
Oh, ain't got no symbolism with I don't know relationships and things of that nature. Just Ashley J.
It's Ashley J.
Okay. What was wrong with Ashley W? What was wrong with that? Ashley W.
I ain't like how it flowed. I like
I know
Ashley
that's
J
right.
better.
You know what you like, huh?
Yes.
So we're talking about habits today. I appreciate you getting back to me. I appreciate this conversation. And ultimately, this is gonna be a little tricky, Ashley. Relationship and dating coach on regards to habits. I don't even know. I don't even know
Oh,
we should I'm a little insecure with that a little bit, but that's your lane. I know something about relationships, but when it comes to relationships and habits, I mean, talk to me. But first talk to me about the episode habits and when you hear the word habit and in line with relationships, like what comes to your mind?
things that we continually do, whether they're healthy or unhealthy, in regards to relationships. We, do you want me to jump in and go?
Please go.
Okay.
Look, the floor is yours. I ain't look. I'm all ears.
So, habits sometimes are come from learned behaviors. And when it comes to learned behaviors, they can be good or they could be bad, right? So when you have someone who is in a relationship, they can tend to do some things that they picked up. Also, it's learned behavior because of things we've been through. So there might be things like, I'll use myself as an example. There were things that I did or sometimes still do if I don't catch myself, in my relationship, in my marriage. When my husband and I first started dating, I I had just came off of this 1 year break, right? I wasn't
When
really
when you
dating.
say when you say 1 year break, you mean 1 year break of not dating anybody, or
Yeah,
okay, all right.
nobody at all. So that was the time that I was using to heal because of past relationships, right? And during that time of healing, it never really occurred to me that some of the things that I picked up in those past relationships were going to carry over to my new relationship.
Yeah, but
So
wasn't that the purpose of going in that sabbatical of
it
12
was to
months
heal.
to get healed?
Yes.
But you didn't get healed?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I got
Okay,
healed,
all right, all right,
but
all right.
some of the behaviors that I had, that I picked up in those previous relationships were still
Uh-huh.
there. That's what I'm
So
saying.
through your healing process, you really didn't know you still had them behaviors till you got yoked to another person then.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
So it's
Exactly.
kind of hard to fully be healed. You really don't know until you get yoked to someone. I mean, you really don't know how jacked up you are until you get connected to someone, because you can go on a sabbatical, heal, fast, pray, and all of that. But until it's game time, you don't really have nothing to test it against.
Right.
Because if you on a sabbatical, you're not practicing.
You're not.
In basketball, football, they practice, they training camp, all of that. And then when a
Mhm.
live game happen, but if you're on a sabbatical and you don't have another male beside you, you really don't even know if you grown or mature. You understand what I mean, though?
Yeah, you don't know. So some of the things that I picked up in past relationships, talking to guys crazy, um, just kind of having a chip on my shoulder, things that didn't realize I still was carrying until I got with my husband. I used to talk to him real crazy, and one day he was like, "Look, you talk to me wrong. Okay, I need you to not talk to me the way you do." I'm like, "Well, what are you talking about?" Because nobody
Right.
said anything to me.
Got you.
The past relationships, it was like, okay, you want to talk to me like that, I'm gonna talk back to you the same way.
Okay.
So
Okay.
nobody ever said anything to me until him. And I was like, well, what you mean? He was like, the whole way you speak to me is just disrespectful. And, in my head, because, I still was working on things, I was like, you need to man up and don't even worry about how I'm
Hold
talking
on,
to you.
hold on. So you was not even aware of your temperament, your body language, your tone. You was unaware. You just did it, and he needed to man up. You had no recollection that what you
None.
was doing was inappropriate.
None.
Wow. Okay.
So, I mean, but I had to sit back, like we kind of got into an argument about it. And I had to stop and think, okay, let me listen to myself and think about the way that I talk to him. Oh, you know what? Yeah, he's right. I'm talking to him real crazy. Why am I talking to him like that? Oh, because that's how I talked to so and so back then. And yeah, I'm in a new relationship now. I have to adjust and be kinder. So that was a habit that I picked up. And it was almost like a survival tactic that I was
That's good.
using.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that whole thing it was
So
crazy.
making that adjustment, was it hard? And I asked, was it hard because you said it was a surviving thing, but did your man put you in positions where you felt like you were in survival mode and you had to respond like that? Or was he different from the others and you just had a trained behavior?
I had a trained behavior.
So even you wasn't even in survival mode, but yet for some reason you can connect with that because you don't wake up talking like that. Like
No.
something on a course of a day make you respond like that. And you wasn't even in survival mode. You know what I mean?
Okay, so that brings me to the video, the habits video that you did, and the conversation that the guys were having at the end of the video, talking about muscle memory. It was just like that. It was muscle memory. It didn't matter whether if it sounded remotely like he was coming at me, it just switched on. He may not have been, but if I perceived it to be that way,
Got you.
that was the way I would respond.
Wow. Did you ever communicate to him that I had this habit because of past relationships, muscle memory, trained behavior? You know what I mean?
We did have a conversation about it, and during that conversation, I told him what well, he knew about it before we had this conversation, but going more in depth with the things that I was doing and the ways that I was acting, we had that conversation, and I explained to him and I apologized
That's
that,
what's up.
these are things that I picked up, and these are things that I'm willing to work on so that
Amen.
we can
That's
have a
what's up.
better relationship.
That's what's up. I'm sure he had to be patient with you because I'm
So
sure that little I don't want to call her a witch, but that person kind of creep out sometimes. I'm sure he had to exercise some contrition, like you know what I mean, like
listen, let me tell you, if you were to talk to him right now, he would
uh-huh.
say that he had to do some construction. He had to break
Wow,
walls down. He had to cut the fence. He had to get through all of that to get to me.
really?
So yes, he was patient.
Oh man. Well, wow. What I mean, it's interesting how you was flowing in that and operating in that. And number one, you didn't know you were being disrespectful. Number
Right.
two, like you said, it was muscle memory. And lastly, I wonder if he wouldn't have never communicated that with you, would you have made the adjustment? Because for me, like not even me, you can be, I don't know, you could be at the market, you could be at the mall, you could be anywhere, and you can spot and be like, she shouldn't be talking to him like that. But yet you don't even see your own demons.
Mm-mm.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, hearing you say all of these things, I'm thinking like, I know Ashley J heard the statement, it's not what you say is what.
how you say it.
And like, so how is that not registering with her? But I guess with habits and muscle memory, it's easy to speak to someone about their situation, even though you're doing the same thing. But you know what I mean? I just wonder, for him, like fast forward now to today, aren't you thankful that he communicated that with you?
Yes, I'm
Or you
thankful that
or keep it 100, or a part of you still want to snap back sometime. You know what I mean? Like, you
oh
know.
yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. But I keep it under control because in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, let me think about what I'm going to say and how I'm saying it before I respond. And then I actually like I go through a whole process before I respond to something that he says that maybe I don't like. And I'll, tell myself, okay, chill out and just talk to him. You don't gotta, pop fly. Just talk to him.
and
So
that's all us as men want. Just talk to me. All the emotion, all the huffing and puffing, all the, it's just like, look, I'm here. Now, if I'm matching that energy and I'm huffing, then it's like, all right, one of us gotta, like, you gotta land the plane. But in the same sense, I think with men and women, sometimes we refrain from communicating because back in the back of our mind, like, he ain't gonna hear me, she ain't gonna hear me. So let me get all extra and dramatic, because when he do disagree, I'm already in my rhythm. You see what I mean? But if I don't believe for 1 second, not that I was there, that your hubby came to you and was yelling like, you need to talk to me better. Huh? He probably was like, yo, listen, chill. He
yes,
probably didn't come with that. You know what I mean?
yes. And actually, what you just said reminded me of something that in therapy we tell clients to do, that in relationships. So you are to communicate when you're communicating with one another. You, if you're the listener and the person is speaking to you, as the listener, you need to not think about what you're going to say, what your reply is. Be present in the conversation and listen to what your partner is saying and then respond from the heart.
Whew. Yeah. Yeah, Ashley, you just said a whole lot. Like, I got another statement for you. Easier said than done. Like, you
It
just said
is.
a whole lot of truth. Like, I'm not debunking or dismissing nothing you're saying. Everything you said is truth. The problem I have when I'm exposed to arguments is no one listens. And if they do listen, they listen to, like you said, clap back.
Mm-hmm.
So in some arguments, a sentence is not even finished. Someone get cuts off. Some arguments, a person to just walk away. So what you're talking about is discipline, sacrifice, and trained behavior. And you know, your heart gonna be beating sometimes, and what you got a woo side. You know what I
A new
mean?
habit. That's what I'm talking about. A new habit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, thanks for sharing it. Thanks for being transparent. But I want to talk to you about your mission statement. Let's
Okay.
chat about finding love and keeping love. I mean that when I read that, I just was like, oh man, Ashley J, you hurting me feelings, man. How you gonna talk about finding and keeping? Because you and I know we live long enough where there are certain words that have been created for people losing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Repo man,
Mm-hmm.
foreclosure,
Mm-hmm.
divorce, expelled, fired. You know what I mean? There are certain words that was created
Mm-hmm.
for, we've known people who've got something and lost it.
Right.
And I guess my main question is, how can I say this? It's like, do you think finding something, let me think about this. Do you think that finding something and keeping something is based on habits?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because we can find a lot of things, but if you don't have the appropriate habits, guess what?
You can lose it.
I mean, if you want to change your body language and communication, I may be talking to a single young lady right now. Maybe.
You wouldn't be talking to Ashley J.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the main question I have it right here. I'm gonna put it up.
Okay.
Basically, do you think that finding something and not keeping something is the result of bad habits?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, expound on that if you can.
I am. So, let's talk. I'm going to tell you the basis of my mission statement. Finding love, that's the dating aspect, that's the date coaching aspect. Keeping love, that's the relationship coaching aspect. When you come to me, either you're going to be in one or two places. And since you're going to be in one of those places, I'm going to help you find that person that you want to be with, help you get in a better position to be able to accept that type of love. And then I'm gonna help you if you want to stay with me. I will help you with making sure that that relationship is healthy and that you develop new habits that will not tear your relationship apart.
Now, how
So
do you get that out of one person, or you need both variables there?
so you need both variables. Like, okay,
The man and a woman, because when you meet with someone, if you meet with a young lady, how she really can't receive herself, so she may not come out and say all the things that she do that disturb him.
right.
You see what I mean? But if you get him there, he can run down like 4 or 5 things. She may be a little upset and in her feelings, but you can help her that way, right?
Yes.
So I'm like, how do you? For me, when people let me in on their life and stuff like that, I try to help them, but it's so hard if I don't have you and your lady, if I don't have you and your husband. Yeah, it's hard,
It's hard.
because I've been in situations, I've been exposed to stories where I hear about a guy going through something. I'm like, man, that's messed up, blah 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 blah. And I talk to her and I'm like, dog, you the reason. Like, I thought, once you get, and I'm like, he like, no, I ain't the reason. I'm like, nah, you are.
There's
And
two sides to every
you put,
story. It is.
yeah.
And with that being said, like, yes, you need both people. You need the couple. It's not therapy, but you need to be committed to making the relationship work and be better. And both of you need to be in a position where you want to win in your relationship, and you want to find new habits, and you want to find new ways to work with each other. So I'm going to help you along that process. With that process, I'm going to give you some tips and some tools, some work to do, and I'm going to help you.
Do you
So yeah.
think that relationships, do you think that relationships is nothing but a non-ending therapy session?
I think that you are constantly learning in relationships. Yeah, you're constantly learning about each other. You're constantly learning about how to be in a relationship. It's a learning process. Yes, I definitely believe that, and I talk about that in some of the lives that I do. It takes a lot of learning and being willing to learn when you're in a relationship.
Well, how do you teach somebody to become teachable? Because we live in a society where we always trying to get to a certain spot. We always trying to arrive, and we can never really grow because some people are just aiming at a particular destination when it's like everything is always pliable. Nothing is ever just going to be solid. And I think we want to say, why can't we just get here? And it's like, here doesn't exist. We have to always evolve. Like it's almost like we try to put a ceiling. Like if we get 1, 2, 3, 4, we good. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. And I'm just wondering, how do you keep people being teachable, whether it's romance, whether it's communication, whether it's going the extra mile. I think, you know, a gentleman was telling me how he did X, Y, and Z, and the next day, his lady was like, "All right, so what's going on?" He like, "Man, I just did 3 things yesterday." Like, what you mean? This should last for the next 3 weeks. And the woman is like, "No, we gaining momentum now." Like, you see what I mean? And I'm just like, how do you teach people to become teachable and remain teachable? You know?
So first of all, they have to be, when we have our discovery call, I'm gonna ask a line of questions and I'm listening to your responses. And if it sounds like you are not trying to, if you're not all in with changing your ways and learning some new techniques that I can teach you, then you're or not teach, I can coach you by coaching you, then we're not going to work, because it's going to take work. If you have a desired place that you want to get to, right? And you decide that, I'm just going to take the shortcut. Well, the shortcut is not going to get you anywhere really, because there's some lessons that you need to learn along the way. There's some obstacles that you need to overcome along the way. So you have to take the long way to get to that destination, because once you do it that way, you are going to be that much of a better person. So
That's
if I figure out that you are not ready to really listen to how I can help you, then I can't help you. You're not ready for anybody to help you. And you're
wow,
going to stay stuck in that same position that you're
wow.
in. So
That's a hard word, Ashley. Man, you be coming at them chicks like that? You be doing that to them? you,
listen, gotta be
man,
real.
you be giving it to them like that,
You
because
got to.
what you're doing is you removing fantasies, you removing expectation, you removing hope in what you think this supposed to be, and you like, look, if you don't put on a breastplate of selflessness and become a student, girl, stay single. I mean, that's what I was hearing. I mean, I don't know if you was
Basically, I mean,
okay.
that's not what I I don't want to say it like that, but I mean that's basically what it is. Like, if you're not really willing to work, then what are you doing? Why are you coming to me?
So
I
are
don't want to waste
you
your time, because I'm gonna give you all of my resources and it's just gonna go down the drain because you're not willing to try it out.
so for some women you have been exposed to, are you so hold up. You're not shocked that some women are divorced and some women are single then. You're not, that don't even shock you then.
No.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. You're like, and you're probably shocked that some men and women are still married. Like, I'm sure you run across that too.
Yeah, there's some, conversations and things that people do, and I'm like, okay, I need to figure out what your secret is and how you holding on to this marriage, because I don't, that wouldn't be me.
Got, got
So
you. Yeah. So how long you been married?
4 years will be 5 years in May.
All right, congratulations. You're gonna make the 5th year. You're gonna make it.
Yeah. Yes.
Um, I want to talk about a myth, and this
Okay.
myth is called the honeymoon stage. People think, and I hear people say it, and it bothers me. Oh, you only been married a year. You still in the honeymoon stage. But everybody who I've talked to, their first year, it's a lot of growing pains. And where did this whole honeymoon stage come? No, the honeymoon stage is like year 10 when y'all seasoned. You have a knowing, you have an understanding. Y'all done been through the trenches and the storms, and y'all had built trust with one another. And y'all like, nah, Ashley got my back. Ashley got her husband back. You know what I mean? Y'all, becoming one is a lifestyle. So talk to me about this honeymoon stage that people think because you just got married, it's supposed to just be utopia. What's that all about? Talk to me about that.
Okay. So first, let me say the honeymoon phase is something. It is a real thing,
Oh, I
and I'm
know.
going to tell you
I believe
why.
it.
Because It happens when you date, not necessarily when you get married.
Oh, repeat that.
It happens when you date, not necessarily when you get married. It happens when you first meet that person and all the vibes are good. You guys are you guys work together okay. You're learning about each other, and every time you learn about each other is something that is exciting for you. And
Nice.
that phase lasts, I say, 90 days. After that 90-day mark, that's when the real comes out.
That's when yeah. No, so no man or woman can keep it up after 91 days. Is like, I got you. This is all right.
Like, okay, because I mean, think about it. 3 months, 3 months into a relationship, everything can still be exciting. It should be exciting, but that fantasy, that la la land that y'all living in, is going to start to digress, and you're going to start to see the real. You're going to start to see the real person, because now y'all spending so much more time together. You're more invested in the relationship after 90 days. So that is when you start to see things, see people for who they are, and pay attention to different things, because you guys have probably made a commitment by that point that you want to be exclusive, right? So the 90-day, I mean, the honeymoon lasts.
Hold up, back up.
Okay.
Hold. I ain't gonna let you get away with that. I ain't, there's something that exists. I heard from women called a clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did you just drop a gem that, for the most part, a woman has this internal clock that in 90 days, bro, we need to have a conversation. What we doing? That's what I heard. I just wanted to back up a little bit, because
I feel like everybody need to have that.
Well, no. Okay. All right. Well, look, because I know men, we don't, men in 92 days, we like, hey, then I mean, what you mean? We just talked last week, like,
Well,
right. So I'm just saying,
90 days,
I ain't want to miss that.
You reevaluate where the relationship is going. Are y'all going to continue, or are you not? If you're going to continue, then that means you guys have been invested in the relationship, and you're putting that work in, willing to put the work in to get to the point of marriage. And
Ashley, we can't skip this part, because as you get older, you should mature.
Mm-hmm.
When a man meets a woman, her definition of putting the work in may not be his. So for those 90 days, she's putting the work in. 90 days, he's putting the work in. And at day 91, if she want to say, hey, what's going on? What we doing? He may be confused. You see what I mean? So it sounds like you really got to be intentional. Like, I don't think it need to take 90 days. You know what I mean? If I'm talking to you often, we hanging out. I ain't saying meet the kids and all that, but I'm just saying, like, this if this is called honeymoon phase and dating, I mean, it's like, I just think we're not trained to really talk about the real stuff. I think we just, we tread lightly. We have some little dialogue going on mentally and internally, and we don't communicate it. And then eventually we'll check each other's temperature, say little things, but we don't really communicate the real. We'll just keep, and then 7 years later, you wonder why it's never been no progress, and it's like we never really was on the same page. And I just think that's missing, which is effective communication. And a woman will hold on, a man will just do him, and you really may not even get nowhere. You understand what I mean? We see it.
So I agree with what you're saying. And, I feel like everybody needs to have communication. Like you said, there needs to be conversations throughout the 90 days. I'm not just saying 90 days, y'all just skating around. I'm saying 90 days, you sit down. That's usually when the representative is going, and you guys are really seeing the
representative is going.
Yes, the representative is going, and you guys are seeing the real. And you start to think, okay, well, we've been doing this for a little while now.
Okay.
How about we talk about, if there's nothing definitive that has been discussed,
Okay.
throughout the 90 days, you talk about where the relationship is going to go. What's the intentions of us being together? That's what I'm saying. You don't have to go 90 days and not talk about it and wait till day 90 to have
But
that conversation.
that's a pattern though. In fact, Steve Harvey did a book on it, didn't he? I
Mhm.
watched the movie with Kevin Hart in them. You know, I forgot the name of the movie. It's escaping me.
Think like a man.
Is it Think Like a Man?
Hmm.
And it was almost like, and I got love for Steve Harvey, but it was almost like the women were putting in the work, and men, we didn't know what was going on, and it was almost like it didn't feel like an equal. It didn't feel like a partnership. It almost seemed like she I guess she's trying to swindle him. You see what I mean? Like I could see if it was a community, it was like, all right, you know, but how the way the movie, I ain't see the movie in a while. How the way the movie presented was like the guy meet a girl, all right, we hanging out. She's doing all his homework and he like go home and go to bed. Like he don't know what's really going on. And I don't think that's proper communication. I don't, you know.
It's not. The book, the point of the book and the movie was to show that show women how to peep game basically. And I understand that a lot of guys was mad about the book and him writing the book and everything because he was telling all the secrets, but that was the point, to show that
But that's the
show
problem
women
right now. That's the
how.
problem. I'm glad he put all the secrets out. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, men be playing games. I mean, it's like, and I say that freely because I know y'all chicks got secrets too. So I'm
Yeah.
glad Steve Harvey exposed us. I'm glad he did because we're not gonna sit here like women. Y'all ain't got some conjuring, some stuff floating around too. You know what I mean? Ain't no. I mean, no women wrote a book yet, but I know you got some stuff with you, Ashley. I know y'all got some. You know, y'all don't share everything. Y'all, you know,
No.
Steve. You know, I know y'all won't. Steve Harvey exposed us, and it's like, all right, cool. Now y'all got the playbook, but I just don't think that's fair. That's all. But I just want to get that off my chest.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think, I mean, he was just trying to show women how to peep game and to really kind of get out of their own way to figure out what the guy that's interested in them, trying to get them out of that rut of, running people away and understanding the signs of when a guy is really not interested in you. Because a lot of times as women, we will see the signs and we will ignore the signs because either one, we don't know what it really means. Two, we are insecure within ourselves to say, okay, I'm done with this. I'm not going to mess with you anymore. Or three, we just want to be in love. We just want to feel needed, if that makes sense.
Is it a Can you break it down for me? Help me out. Is there a difference between being in love and just being married?
A difference between being in
Yeah,
love.
like break that down. What is being in love and what is being married? You know, I'm talking about two different worlds.
I
Two different
see.
worlds because and let me share the story. I was talking to someone who this guy, he was with this girl, I don't know, like 10 years straight,
Hmm.
and they had a kid together. They never married. They lived together, and it didn't work out, and they ended up breaking up. I think he went and I don't know, got an apartment, whatever. He moved on, and he married a girl within 18 months. But in that 10 years with that young lady, physically abused her, cheated on her a dozen times, very disrespectful. He left. He was done with her. He meets some other girl, get married. The girl that he did all that dirt to, I mean, traumatic. I mean, foul to her. Nice, nice, nice girl. I met her.
Hmm.
She's upset and in her feelings. Well, he gonna marry her, and I'm like, sister, he did you a favor. Like, and from her perspective, and I just want to know the psyche of some women. I ain't gonna say all women. a guy could be so foul. Like in other words, that's her. That's the wife problem now. Like you don't have that headache no more. And I don't understand how she rather marry and get treated the same way. You know, he left, married someone else, and she feel left out. She feel abandoned and stuff. And I don't understand because the dude was foul, Ashley. You see what I mean? And I don't. So when I say marriage or in love, she wasn't even in love. You know? Oh, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. I mean,
She was in love.
yeah, she probably was in love, but I just don't understand how a person can inflict so much pain over the years and he leave you and you felt relief and you're like, man, then you get word he getting married and you're like, I'm just trying to understand, you know, because her life has evolved since
Well,
he left, but she just felt like, you know, she was robbed.
I can understand why.
Okay. Yeah,
Absolutely understand
explain.
why. So the reason why she felt robbed is because she felt like, okay, I endured all of this stuff from you, and you slapped me in the face by leaving me. And then not only did you leave me, in a year and a half, I was with you 10 years. I held you down for 10 years. Regardless of everything that you did to me, I held you down for 10 years. We break up, you leave, find somebody else, and then a year and a half later, y'all get married. All that work that I put in with you, and now you're with somebody else, and I can guarantee you that he is not the same person he was with her as he is with this new wife. He's not the same person.
Well,
So
that's I'm glad you said that because I want to talk about habits. It's something the new girl must was doing.
she wasn't going to stand for his bull crap. She
Mm,
called him out on it.
mm. But
Something
why did
that
he adhere? So I'm trying to figure out how is it that the new girl can easily get promoted to the presidential suite when the girl who was riding for you 10 years through all the nonsense, you know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out what not that we know exactly what happened, like what habits do you think both women did? Like you see what I mean? You see where I'm getting at?
so 10-year woman, she allowed things to happen. She allowed for him to cheat on her, beat her, and I'm not saying that she deserved any of that. What I'm saying is she allowed it to happen because he probably found her in a position where she was not exactly strong when they met. She might have been in a situation where she was weak. Her self-esteem was low, and he was able to take that, show her that, he could be a nice guy in the beginning, and once he got her hooked, he switched and became somebody else and was able. Now meantime, okay, she's still low self-esteem because I'm sure there was little things being said to her throughout the nice phase, right? So he was
The
able to keep
honeymoon
her
phase.
where she was. Huh?
The honeymoon phase.
Yes, the honeymoon phase.
Yo,
He
hey,
was-
listen, I never heard honeymoon phase in dating though. So
that's
that
where it
was some
started. I mean, that's
education.
what it is.
That was some education for me. That was thank you for that wisdom. I
But
just
he
never.
was able to hold her down where she was, right? And he was able to do whatever he wanted to her, run over her because she was in a situation where she needed him. And it didn't matter how she got him, she needed him. And she was going to do everything she could to stay with him because that's who she needed. And
Mm,
that love turned into toxic love, which turned into a insecure attachment.
mm,
And once he got tired of the cycle, he
mm-hmm.
did what he needed to do and left. And that left her in a bad place.
Well, what hurts me is he's treating that new girl good, his wife. But what hurts me is the girl who he's been with for the decade, she's hurting, rightfully so. But she's not even open to the wisdom of, you ever figure why is he treating her good? She ain't trying to hear that.
Most women aren't.
And that's the part where, how do you pick yourself up? You see what I mean? Instead of just laying in your vomit like, oh, what I deserve, it's like, it's a reason why he left you, and now all of a sudden he know how to honor. You see what I mean?
He knew how to honor the whole time. He started out with a honor, but it was kind of a fake honor, just an honor enough to get you hooked. He knew how to honor. It was just that the wife, she was not going to stand for any disrespect.
Gotcha.
She made him move and get up off his butt to do whatever it is that, you know, he wanted to do. And she just wasn't going to stand for the old dude. She needed him to be a good guy, and she made sure he was a good guy by empowering him or whatever it was that she needed to do to get him to where.
Wouldn't I be wrong if I went to her and said, well, he left you because you wasn't helping him?
Would you be wrong?
Like, because you see what I mean? That would sound kind of harsh. Like, you wasn't even helping him. And and you know, a lot of times when, you know, when women hear the word help, is on a, like, you're being demoted, but allowing certain things, that's not going to keep them. You know, this other girl, she took a stance. She had a particular, more than a few standards. For some reason, that was attractive, you know? And obviously she knows of his history because, you know, they had a kid together, the 10-year girl. And, you know, but in the same sense, she dislikes the new girl. And the new girl was like, look, I ain't, you know, like, it's not that the new girl ain't even bringing negative energy, you know? And I just wish it was a way to communicate effectively. Like, look, all right, you don't have this guy. Yeah, he moved on and he got married again, but, you know, you played a part in why he left, you know? And I don't think we do that. We're not really accountable, you know?
We aren't. I think go ahead.
No, and I just think it's kind of foul with everything he did to that young lady. I think he was 100% foul. And in the same sense, even if the young lady is the victim and stuff like that, you still got to get up. You know what I mean? Because you still got to get up. And I think some people don't get up, Ashley. And I'm just thankful for people like you who is willing to help people, you know? That's all.
I agree. A lot of people don't get up. That's kind of what the 1 year sabbatical was for me, because the relationship that I was in before that sabbatical, it was a very extremely toxic relationship. And it was one of those relationships where we were only together a little bit of time, but it felt like we were together for a lifetime because it sucked that much life out of me.
Ouch. Yeah.
And I had to, you know, I was depressed. I wanted him still in the beginning of my 1 year sabbatical. I wanted him to want me, but then I had to sit back and think, okay, what do I have in common with this relationship, the relationship before that, and the relationship before that? What's the common denominator? What is it within me that is attracting people like that?
Wow.
To be in my life?
Wow.
And once I figured that out, I was able to work on it and change it.
Man, we about to be on this thing for another 3 hours, man. One of the things that, you know what, finish your thought, because I am wondering, how is it that some women can attract the same exact dog? Like, I just scratched my head, like is it a way how she presents herself is, I don't know, is it spiritual? Is it like a demonic force? Is it, because one of the weaknesses for some women, and it's sad because I have daughters and I don't want them to grow up and experience this. And one of the weaknesses of some women is that they find themselves only being attractive to unavailable men.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a hardship for some women. And I don't know if single guys is played out. I don't know if you, if you single and trying to get, I don't know, but there are some men who, and I'm not even talking about married, he could just be in a solid relationship with his girl. And for some reason, it just seemed like, some women battle with that. And they find themselves being attractive to only that. And I just, I grieve for them because it's because no woman, wants their man interested in another woman. No. You do not, no woman wants that heartache, but yet there are women out there that prey on that. And it's just unfortunate, So, you had a previous relationships, but when you met your hubby, what was different about him? Like, where you was like, you're like, or did he look like the rest of them jokers and he made a switch or something? Tell me something about that.
That's funny. All right. So when I got in a place where I felt like I was ready to start dating, I prayed. I was like, Lord, listen, I'm gonna get this thing one more try. Okay. This is
you was throwing in the towel. You was throwing in the towel.
When I tell you I was so done, I was done. But I said, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna get this thing one more try.
But you told the Lord he got one more yeah. Oh man, I love this, man. Yeah, I love it.
This is what I'm looking for. And I said everything from A to Z. And I was like, I'm gonna give this dating site 30 days, because after that they were going to start charging me. I was like, I'm gonna get this 30-day free trial a chance, and I need to see and meet this person that you want me to be with within that 30 days.
Wow.
And go ahead.
Make your petitions plain, huh? Man.
I had to.
Okay. Look. Hey, call on. Hey, bring fire from heaven. Go ahead. Hey, finish the story.
So I got on there. Actually, it was a dating site that Steve Harvey had created. So I got on there, and I think like 2 weeks in, I was like, all right, Lord, I ain't met nobody, worth my time yet. Okay, what's going on? And that following week, I met my husband. When I looked at his profile pictures, I was like, oh God, here we go. Why does he have to look like what he used to?
Well, you look like, talk to me when you said, what happened? What did he look like? I mean, I don't know.
So when I saw him, I was like, okay, I was in a place where I was like, I don't want anybody that looks remotely like what I used to date. Somebody who was in the streets or anything like that. I ain't want no thugs. I ain't want none of that. And if they were a thug, he needed to be a reformed thug, because I'm done with it.
Okay, all right.
So when I saw one of his pictures, I was like, no, I'm not talking to him. But
okay.
God told me.
How does this work? You saw his picture, like,
so he messaged me.
Oh, he messaged. Okay, all right.
And with him inboxing me, I was like, I can't even remember everything he said, but it was enough for me to check him out.
Okay.
And I went.
He dropped some wisdom on you, huh? He dropped the little. He dropped the little teaser. Entertained you
differently. I'll say that he didn't approach me with that "Hey, sexy, hey, beautiful" stuff. He approached me differently.
I guess that still works.
Yes.
That stuff still.
He, I went and checked him out. Whatever. I saw the pictures. I was like, nah, Lord, that ain't
judging by our parents. I'm glad the Lord did that to you. Judging by our parents. I'm glad he hit you up.
And he told me, no, you need to respond to him. I was like, all right. So I responded to him.
You only got 30 days.
I responded to him. And we started to converse back and forth. And then the moment that I knew that he was completely different was one day we were texting, and he told me, I asked him what he was doing, and he said he had his daughter and her sister. They went to go get their feet done, and they were at the nail salon. And I was like, "You at the nail salon with your daughters?" He was like, "Yeah." That was so different. I never witnessed a guy go to the nail salon with their daughters, because that's what they like to do. That was different, and that sealed the deal for me. I was like, okay.
What does that do for a woman who is in relationship, getting to know a guy, and she see how he treats his daughter? Like, how do you bridge the connection? Because I mean, that's his daughter, that's his responsibility. How do you get intertwined with that when you should be worrying about how he treats you?
Because in my heart, I felt like, okay, a father should treat his daughter a certain way. And because he's treating his daughter in a certain way, he is going to live by that standard. At least he should, right? So once I heard him say that, or I read that he, what he was doing, I was like, this guy is a good guy. He's a great father. And, that was, of course, one of my criteria. I wanted somebody that was going to be a great father, a great provider. And not just that, but the fact that he had another child with him that was not his own, but he was raising her as his own. That, all of that culminated into me saying, okay, I made the right choice.
That touched the core value on you, because obviously when you made that petition to the Lord, you didn't even know, like, all right, responding back to him, you didn't even know that guy, even though he looked a certain way that you didn't approve of, you didn't know he had that virtue in him. You didn't know that at face value. No. You know what I mean? And that touched something in you. And the reason why I asked that question, because there are mothers that are walking this planet that believe that their husband treats their daughter better than a wife. That's why I asked you that. I couldn't intertwine it too, because there are certain things that daughter can get out of daddy that, mom is like chopped liver. And I don't think that's right, but that's why I asked that question.
I think that it's daddy's job when it comes to those scenarios. It's daddy's job to separate the two. And to maintain what he does for his wife, put that energy that he's putting towards his daughter, that energy that she's jealous of, put that towards her. Now, I'm not saying don't treat your children, right or anything, but there needs to be a separation. If you are married and you spend more time with your daughter, and you do everything for her, you can't be that way if you're married. You have to.
Well, the bad part about that is the mom becomes the envy the daughter, and that's bad. And the daughter can't comprehend, because the daughter's like, I didn't make my dad love me like this. Mm-mm. Like, I don't know why daddy don't like you like that. But yet mom and daughter, it's always some friction. And the daughter's like, look, I don't, and this can go a whole nother area where dad has been foul to mom on more, whether it's physical abuse, adultery, addiction, whatever. And the mom can put that kind of pressure on the daughter, and the daughter's like, look, that's because daddy did that to you. I'm supposed to stop loving him? You see what I mean? And like, and I just always wondered. So, I understand. I agree with you. It's the man position to differentiate. I'm going to give this love, and I'm going to give my wife the love I gave you, but it's going to be times 10. You ain't going out, But in the same sense, I just think it takes a level of maturity for a mom to take the position that even though she see her daughter being treated, I guess, with more attention and affection, I don't think it's right for the mom to,
No,
treat
she
her
shouldn't
own
be
daughter.
jealous of her own
Yeah,
child.
yeah, she
No.
should not, and when I hear that, it kind of makes me wonder of some, I wonder what happened for the mom that really can have that kind of jealousy for her daughter. Like, that's all.
I was watching one day Iyanla Fix My Life, and she had Lisa Ray on there, the actress, and it was Lisa Ray's mother and Lisa Ray's daughter, and Lisa Ray's mother was very mean and nasty, and she was jealous of Lisa Ray because of the same situation. Lisa Ray's
Really, I
father,
never heard her story. Really? Oh yeah.
yeah, Lisa Ray's father, he doted on her while mom was left in the background for whatever reason. And he was cheating on her. He actually got killed by his girlfriend while he was married to the mom. So um, they were in the same situation, and it was a generational thing. Like the mom didn't like Lisa Ray. Lisa Ray's daughter felt like she didn't like her
Wow.
because she sent her away when she was, I forget how old she was. She was young. She was a teenager. She sent her away to a boarding school for troubled kids because she didn't know how to deal with her. Well, she didn't know how to deal with her because her mom never showed her how to deal with a child because she was her mother's enemy. So that's the same
Yeah.
situation that you're talking about.
I wanna man, I felt like we only been talking 10 minutes. I'm looking at the thing, we've been on it. But I wanna how can I say this? I wanna give you a hard question, and
Okay.
it's the lesser of two evils. It's an impossible question. I'm prepping you. You can't answer it. It's a hard question, and I just wanted to prep you. So, since you are, it's AshleyJ.com relationship and dating coach. I figure I could rough you up a little bit. So,
All right.
In a relationship, is it better? Like if you are, I'll bring it to your front door since you have a husband. In a relationship, do you think it's better for your husband to have bad? You got to pick one. You got to pick one. You can't say neither. So that's the rule. He either have bad habits or he's ignorant. You got to pick one. Which one is better?
Ignorant
In a relationship,
ignorant
in general.
He's not knowledgeable, or ignorant as he's disrespectful?
Anything off the channel ignorance, that.
Okay.
So you got to pick one. He either have bad habits or ignorance.
I take bad habits.
Why bad habits?
Bad habits because bad habits can be changed. It might be some fight in there, and it might be because I'm always up for a fight, but I'll pick bad habits because we can work on changing those bad habits.
Because bad habits too can cause dissension, right?
They can, but if we're working together to change them, then there's going to be a bumpy road. But if he will sit there and is willing to work on those habits, you're going to succeed.
Yeah, it's I think all relationships have bad habits and ignorance.
Yeah.
Until you really had that conversation, and I'm glad you shared your whole personal testimony in regards to how the way you spoke to him, because that was just a bad habit and ignorance. I mean, you can combine the two. They pretty much, bad habit and ignorance, they pretty much go hand in hand.
Yeah.
It's just, I think what goes around with most men is that she trying to change me. Like when that is said, like what goes through a woman's head when a guy she's trying to change me? Like, what do y'all hear with that? Well, like, what do women hear that?
It depends on the woman. Because if you know, if you are mature, then you know that you can't make anybody change unless they're willing to change.
Right.
And you know, when I hear a guy say, you know, his woman is trying to make him change, I hear, I'm not trying to change yet. She needs to leave me alone. That's what I hear. Um, because if you were ready to change, you wouldn't say that, in my opinion. So,
No, I mean it's I just think it's I don't think relationship is perceived as therapy. I think therapy is like a curse word. I think therapy is a word used like something wrong with you, you know, and I ain't going on the lines of mental health or anything, but I just think like if I was to say, Ashley, I believe me and my lady, this is nothing but one big therapy session. That's therapy is good. You
mhm.
know, it's adjusting, it's adapting, it's sacrificing, it's giving, it's crying, it's laughing. And we I think me saying all that, that ain't relationship. We shouldn't be talking about that. And we ain't, you know, and I just think I think it's been I think we've been taught wrong or trained wrong. And I applaud you for being married for, you know, going on 5 years. When did you say, you know what, I want to talk about this stuff? Like, was it last year? Was it 2 years ago? Was it year one or year two? Like, when did you like, you know what, I need to talk about this stuff because I got I've been ripped through the fire. I got all this insight. I made the adjustments. I want to help some people. Like, when did this happen for you?
Honestly, it's always been something within me. From the time that I started to go to college and I took my first psychology course, I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. And you know, I took a human sexuality course. I said, that's even better. So I from that moment I knew that I wanted to help people in their relationships. I actually, even going earlier than that, in high school, I was
Wow, really?
I deemed myself as a person that wants to help people in relationships. Um, and then it was something that, you know, I worked on for a little while. And then after dropping out of Temple University, I was like, I'm done with all this. And then it was, let me see, I about 6, 7 years after I dropped out of Temple, I started going back to college and got my bachelor's degree. And after, when I was coming up to the ends of my program, I was like, at first I was like, I'm just getting this bachelor's degree and I'm done. I'm not doing
Right.
nothing else. And I was trying to find all these other different things to do, um, with my degree, and like project management. That was one thing I looked at, and I got these different certifications and stuff. But when I got to the end of my program, the Lord told me I was going to go to graduate school, and I was like, that wasn't my plan, but all right. So after he told
Did
me
you go to
that,
you went to Temple?
yeah, I went to Temple. Um, After he told me that, you know, things coming back, things that I pushed to the side. And I'm like, you know what? I can help somebody with their relationship. So I was like, I need to be a couples therapist.
Mm,
So my graduate degree is in marriage and family therapy.
got you.
And last year, when the pandemic hit,
Mm-hmm.
I had to pivot. And you know, I was almost at the end of my graduate program, but in the midst of that, it was like God was pushing me out there. He was telling me to start going live and, you know, giving people tips on their relationships and, you know, all of that stuff. And then I started researching and finding out more about coaching and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, this is a thing. And apparently this is a thing that you want me to do. So I've been doing it since, I'll say maybe April of last year. I've been doing it.
Nice.
I got a certification in it. Like,
No.
I've been working on this. I actually like, I hate to say it, but I like doing coaching more than I like doing therapy, because therapy, I got to be a little more of a hand holder. Coaching, I can just talk straight direct to you and not have to worry about
Like our boy Glenn P. Brooks, huh?
yes.
Yeah, I was on a call with him earlier. I actually went over. I had to get off. When I got off, they still was talking.
Oh,
So he may
really?
be watching. What's up, Glenn? He may be watching, but yeah, we was on a
Hey,
call
coach.
earlier, going over the disc assessment, and he was breaking
Okay.
stuff down for all of us. We got on at like noon. That thing went. I had to get off. It was like 1:30. I'm like, man, I gotta talk to Ashley. Like they still like Glenn. He just direct, and but
Yes.
he's intentional on. Look, I'm a coach. I ain't holding your hand. One
Right.
plus one equal two. You either ride with me, or you don't. And
Right.
but therapy, you can't come from that angle. And Glenn is very effective, as you know. In fact, I
Yeah.
think I watched it live with you and Glenn. Oh, was it you and somebody? I'm not sure. You and Glenn did a
He
talk, didn't you?
he did in one of our strategy sessions, we were having a conversation and he said he was going to make a commercial out of it. So that might
Okay.
have been what you saw.
Yeah, I saw something with y'all too. I can't remember, it's escaping me. But I just think, well, piggybacking on you it's like you've been had the call and you try fighting it. Obviously you lost. you know,
Right.
you know, it's obvious that you lost. And I want to talk to you about this online dating thing, because I have a lady and I met her the traditional way. I saw her, she saw me, she liked me, she fell in love with me. I mean, that's what's up. You know what I mean? That's my story. I'm sticking to it. She got a different story. So, we met the traditional way, and I noticed on your .com, you're trying to coach people with the online dating thing. What's wrong with the traditional way, or is online dating like a new wave? Like, what happened to going to the market, or just being out and about? I ain't saying a bar or a club, or but I mean just being out. Is online, that's where we at now? Technology, Wi-Fi. Oh, I see her, and let me get to know her. Let me send her an inbox. I mean, you got married, so
Yeah.
I'm just trying to. Is that the new thing?
So, I mean, obviously you can meet somebody anywhere, right? It doesn't matter where
Yeah,
you are.
yeah,
You
but
can meet
I want to
somebody.
talk about that because people put their hope in faith. I mean, people paying membership, like you say, you gave the Lord a 30-day notice, but some people are paying monthly. You know what I mean? Instead of just I ain't gonna say make himself available, but just the traditional way just seemed like, nah, this is the new wave. I meet my wife on eHarmony or whatever.
I mean, people feel like, okay, online dating, people feel like say eHarmony, for instance, they have like a whole algorithm to help people with finding their match, right? And people put their faith in that because they have seen millions of other people successful from that particular website, or successful in online dating, period. Like, for me, my father and his wife met online and they got married. So I saw, a success story from online dating, and I was like, okay, well, I'll give it a try. I'll give it a shot. Okay.
Well, talk
So,
to me about that. I never been on eHarmony or what this girl told me. Plenty of Fish.
oh yeah.
They got a Christian John. I see like a pop up. Like, what is it? Is it like a social media? It's like a LinkedIn, like your name, I guess, where you work at. Like what? Like what
So,
is it a portal? Like what do it even look like?
all right. So, from what I can tell
Because
you,
you
because
saw
last
some
time I
pictures.
was on it, huh?
You saw some pictures of your man, and you was like, like it took heaven to shake your situation. It took heaven to shake your situation. First of all, you're gonna give God a petition and then tell him I ain't doing that. Like you gonna invite him in. No, now you got my attention. So you saw pictures of him. Like
Yes. So I mean, it goes to people where people have their faith. So if you look at life in general right now, everything is cyber. Everything is online. You can shop online. You
Yeah,
can you
Amazon's
know,
the best, man.
yes, you can also, communicate with people online. Like everything is online right now. So,
Amazon, Amazon is so good. They lied to me. I had ordered something, right? And they said you
mhm,
won't get this to like February something. That junk came in like 2 days. I'm like, y'all lied to me, but thank you. Like they
right,
so good. They lied to you and come through.
right. So, because of that, because everything is online, people are used to being online.
Okay.
So, why not start dating online? So, the way it looks like, I haven't been on a dating site in
No,
8
you
years,
good. Yeah,
9
you good.
years.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but from what I understand or from what I remember, you make a profile up just like you do on Facebook or Instagram. And on your profile, you put your picture up, you put your interests on there. You talk about who you're interested in. You have a whole lot of options nowadays with that. And you set your best foot forward, and you put the best picture on there to catch the fish, catch the person, and
Well, how
y'all.
personable though? How personable are you? I got kids. I'm divorced. Like, do you put all or is that for when someone inbox you, you be intimately, talking to them like that?
Well, some people are very honest and put it up there within their bio, and some people will hold it until they feel comfortable with talking about that. But for me, I want to say I just put who I was at the time and what I was looking for and what I like to do. So I put that out there. That's what I put on there, and I
And you
think
got a hit.
I got a few hits, but I got a good hit with him.
Ah, you really you gonna go ahead and brag now, huh? You gonna brag. You got you went out and got a hubby. You got all right.
Yes, I got a
So
hit.
how does that work with your husband? Because at the time, a guy who inboxed you, I guess at the 91th day, when you begin to communicate to him the matters of your heart, does that mean, hey, listen, babe, I'm gonna need you to close that membership now? Like, how does that work? Do y'all
So
close at the same time? Do he close first? Or I'm
it's
just
a
curious.
discussion. It's a discussion. If you
Okay.
after a little while, like we
So if he
talk,
would have said, no, I'm gonna keep mine open, that just lets you know.
that would have told me, okay, I need not to be so invested in this relationship. That's what that would have told
Well, how did
me.
it go? Tell me how it went with
So
y'all.
so we talked for like a few months. I can't remember how long we talked before
So
we
did
met.
you give him 30 days like you did the Lord?
No, I didn't give him 30 days.
What you gave him? 10? Don't tell me. Don't tell me you gave him longer now. Don't even don't
I
tell
don't
me
even
you're gonna
remember
get.
how long I told him he had, but what we made sure we did, because I was living in, well, when I met him, I was living in Delaware, and then I moved, like, not long after that, I moved to Philly, and then he was living here in Atlanta. So we talked about meeting, and he flew me down here. Now, kind of put you in where my mindset was when I met him. I was like, no, I'm not staying in no hotel. I'm staying in your house. Because he had, he told me he had a house or whatever. He owned the house and everything. So I was like, I need to make sure things are on the up and up. So
Yeah,
I said, I'm
you
staying.
ain't know if you was the side thing.
I needed to make
You're
sure.
like, yo, I get to the hotel room, I come visit you, we hang out, and
I
you,
needed to make
oh yeah,
sure.
you had to escape out the
Need,
yo,
need somebody
women,
to come up in the house to clean.
women could be so petty at times. Like, why can't you just make this work? Go to the hotel, I come past, you know what I mean? Why you had to come past the crib? Like,
Because I had been through stuff like that before, and people trying to keep up lies the whole time that I was in the hotel. So I said, no,
So
I
like
ain't going
so
to
in
be
other
in
words,
the
you
house.
ain't trying to be like, all right, babe, just stay at the hotel. Let me run some errands and I'll be back.
That's what happened to me before. So I wasn't trying to hear all that.
I know that's right. All right, I got you. All right, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. All right.
So I mean, after the first meeting, we wanted to see how we vibe when we first when we first met face to face.
So from the rip, this was a on what they call it, a long distance relationship.
Yes.
Wow, they're
Yeah.
not successful. So you that small percent,
Yes, we are.
that made it.
Yes.
See,
So
I thought online dating was your local area. I didn't know you can jump from,
anywhere you want,
got you. I
anywhere
didn't know
you
that.
want
Okay.
somebody. I mean, now I think they still do this. You set the radius for how far you want to go, but I left it open.
Okay.
Um, so after that first meeting, we were like, okay, we're gonna make this a thing. And he had to call me out on it because I think I had
Really?
visited him
Nice. He
twice.
sound like a good man.
I
He,
visited him twice before he was like, listen, I was driving to work one day and he was like, listen, I'm not going to keep paying for these flights for you to come back and forth down here and you don't tell me you my lady. So I was like scared. Like he scared me because I was like, what? Like what? He was like,
so the brother has standards,
yes.
and
He
you
was
you
like,
had to you had to come up to his standard.
I did. He was like, I will leave this relationship today if this is not what you want. He was like, but you need to
Oh,
make a decision.
yeah, you met your match. Yeah, yo, yo, you know what's funny? That's just what you get just by giving our Lord 30 days. I'm glad you've been taking this spanking. You ain't want to get with it. Oh man, that's what's up. Women crack me up how they dictate what they need. Like the Lord, I got something for you. He took you way out your comfort zone. Now you down in Atlanta. I appreciate you, you being an Eagles fan. Now you down in Atlanta with green on.
Yes.
Oh man,
that,
he give you he
he
give you what you
scared me
need. Man.
because I never had anybody talk to me like that. He scared me.
But
And I was
why was that attractive? Because some people they shrivel up. They be like, oh nope, I ain't. Like when people have a certain standard, they run. And a lot of men, and I dislike when they be like, oh, the strong black woman, attitude women. It's like some women like, look, I've been through too much. If you got to come here,
yeah.
like you got to come here. And I'll, and some men, well, as you can see, get your behind down Atlanta. I'm gonna be back on my .com, my Steve Harvey show. But I just wonder, like, why did that attract you? Because he sound like a bully almost, which I think you deserve. But it sound like why,
It wasn't bullying. It was he was putting his foot down and he's like, look, we're not going to keep doing this if you're not trying to be in this relationship. And that was attractive to me because he knew what he wanted. And what he wanted was me. And he wasn't playing no games. He was straight up with it. And that's
that's
what
hard.
I was attracted to. That's what attracted me to him and what really you know made me make a decision at that moment right there on the spot. And I was like, okay, cool, this is we'll be together, this is what we're gonna do. And
Yeah,
that's what
from
we
what I hear from a lot of women is that it's hard to get a guy like that. They
he
they're
he is rare.
yeah.
He is rare
And
because I mean, go ahead.
what no I'm not a relationship coach or you know marriage guru. But I've talked to a lot of women from age 20 to age 80, and you know that guy, your husband, those men do encounter a woman life, And what I see is a guy can meet her and be just like your husband, right? And she don't appreciate what she have, and she think, I get another one. Another one may come around with the same energy. And some women are able to get married twice. I know a girl who been married 3 times, but sometimes you only get one shot. And I do believe in, you meet people, you may like somebody, but the timing ain't right. But in the same sense, I think sometimes people think, I get another one, and that ain't really the case, you know?
You're not
So,
gonna
and I
get
think,
the same chance every time.
yeah, and is unfortunately that you had to go through a few barracudas, to get the precious vase, but man, continue to honor your husband and submit to him and be there for him, and you know what I mean? Because it's you know, I don't think that was a bad decision to go down there. And I think you needed that little spanking, and I'm glad that I'm glad y'all doing what y'all do.
Thank
I
you.
just um I don't hear much negative about online dating. I've heard eHarmony does a good job of getting people together, but they don't do a good job of keeping them together. I know, because eHarmony, their brand is, if y'all got a lot in common, y'all should just be able to go to the promised land. And what happens is they do hook people up. They do get married. And then after a while, when you're looking at yourself, for some reason dissension happened. I never, I can't recall someone who got in a long distance relationship and then got married. Uh, so no, kudos to you. Some people like, yo, you in Atlanta? Like, dang, I'm in Delaware. Like, that's kind of, I mean, it's only so much FaceTime and what they call a Skype or he never came up north.
Yeah, he did. When I got my apartment, I was living in the Northeast, and he used to come up and visit me at my apartment. We took turns. We came back and forth, and then after that first
Oh,
year, he was like, "We need to make a decision, and either you can try to move down here, or we figure something else out." So I had already wanted to live in Atlanta, so I was like, "I'll put in the transfer."
how is it down there? I never been to Atlanta. Is it? I heard it's a strong black community, black businesses, and a lot of networking amongst our people that look like us.
It is.
I heard it's beautiful. The
The first,
homes.
go ahead.
I heard everything is nice, but the traffic. That's all.
Yeah, that traffic is a beast. But the first time I came here, I fell in love with it because I saw people who looked like me, women who looked like me, who were my age, and they were doing well for themselves. Um, at the time, I was used to being around girls who were my age that, they was okay, but we all were on the same level. That wasn't something for me to aspire tour. So when I saw that down here, I was like, I got to be part of this movement. Like, I need to be part of this. This is where I need to go. This is prosperity. That's what I felt within me, and it took some years before I got to that point, before I was able to get down here. But that's.
Yeah, I mean, we coming up on an hour and a half, and we're gonna have to wrap this up. The last thing I want to talk about is something I said in the episode with storms, you know. But before I touch on storms, number one, I just want to applaud you for your relationship with God. You know, women have their battles and they've been through their hardships. Some been hurt, some been mistreated, some I still don't know the definition of daddy issues, but anyway, women can be all over the place, but yet they can still add value to a man. And I'm sorry you went through what you went through, but it molds you to be the perfect wife for him that you are right now. And trust in God, petitioning God with a shot clock, taking that step to respond to that inbox to a guy that looks familiar to the guys that brought so much pain. On top of that, traveling long distance. I mean, you went the distance. Yo, what we talked about, what you say, finding love and keeping love, like you actually went way out your comfort zone for a guy. First of all, you judged on appearance. You already owned this, so I ain't gonna beat you up. But you went the extra mile and invested in online dating, then a long distance relationship. You ain't nowhere near the 215. You're married and you're willing to use the pain and experience you have to help other people. I just applaud you. You know what I mean? I'm a fan. If you ever write a book, we talked about me being on your show. We're friends for life. I like to meet your husband. And I just applaud you because some people tap out. Some people say, you know what? And those who endure to the end, the same shall be saved. So I'm glad, you endured it. And, when it comes to storms, obviously it's hard to see when you're in the storm, And the only thing I really want to talk about when it comes to storms is that why, because you going on 5 years, you and your hubby have faced some storms, period. I don't need to know. You ain't got to go. I don't need to know the intricate details. We don't need to go into that. We can do that. We'll do that when I come on your show.
Okay.
But why aren't storms perceived as training ground? I just would like to close on that. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
That is a wonderful question. Storms are not perceived as training grounds because, like you said, you can't see when you're in the midst of the storm.
That's
all
true.
You see is chaos all around you, and you see that your life is off balance.
Right.
And you cannot figure out how to get that homeostasis back. So
for a person that don't know what that means, I'm raising my hand.
How to get that balance back.
Homeostasis. Definitely don't ask me to spell it, but you can't just throw certain words out there and expect me to know.
You trying to figure out how to get that balance back in life, and it just seems like everything that you're doing, you fail at it. So you don't think that it is a training ground. I tell this to my clients all the time. You take the good out of the bad. There is a lesson in every situation that you're in, whether it's good or bad. The bad situations give you the lifetime lessons. So you learn about yourself when you're in the storm. You learn who you really are. You learn that you have resilience. You learn a lot of different things when you're in the midst of a storm. And when you're in the midst of a storm with your partner, and it's a real, like a tornado, okay, and y'all still together, y'all still holding hands, you done made it. You have, you guys have figured out something that's holding on, that's making your relationship strong and keeping your bond strong. So go ahead.
Do you teach that in dating? Like, I'm not talking about the marriage part, but just the dating part, because on the other side, when you do jump the broom and you do get in holy matrimony, Ashley, I've been exposed to some stories where storms has led to cheating. Mm-hmm. Storms has led to addictions. Storms has led to domestic violence. Storms has led to incarceration, where I'm talking like, dog, how you in jail? He's like, man, we fell on hard times. I just tried to go on the streets and try to do, man, you in jail. Like, storms come, and I've seen it. Like, I mean, sunshine ain't even tomorrow. Like, the storm is still, like the storm came, and the storm is like, oh man, we cool. We gonna hang out for a while.
Mhm.
And reason why I asked is it in dating, because I learned from you that dating is the honeymoon stage. I may do a whole episode on that. You don't know what you did with me with that. But I'm just wondering, I think it's good information for people to know that storms are to help you. And I've seen storms do way more havoc, you know?
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
no, I just want to know, why isn't that like the narrative, you know? That's all. That's all.
Um, why it's not the narrative, I don't know. A lot of people, you can become selfish within the
Okay.
storm. And you become selfish because you're only thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about the other people who are affected by the storm, right? So a lot of people, when it comes to dating, it's not, for some people who go through the storm, and it may not be serious for them. So they're not going to think about being in the storm with somebody else. They're not going to think about weathering the storm so they can get to that person that they want to be with. That's not the thought. That's
But
not the train of
isn't
thought when you're
but
dating.
you really don't know if your spouse is behind you until you hit a storm, right? Like, how do you know if somebody all in, and then you be like, oh man, like Ashley, I thought we was, especially with online and long distance relationship. Like y'all the miracle. Y'all walk on water. Y'all too. Yeah, y'all too. But I'm just saying, like, how do you know if your partner is really with you? You know, you
So
won't know. It ain't by movies and what is it called, dinner and excursions. That when the storm, that's when you know.
that's where the real work starts, in the storm. And it's in the character. I'll say that. Like, my husband and I, Tariq, we were in a storm. I would say,
Wow, he got a hood name too. Wow. Yeah, when you said Tariq, I could think of like three dudes from Miranda Way. Like, that name, that's a hood name even in a movie. Yeah, Tariq, yo.
so we were in a storm for, if it wasn't, it was about 6 months to a year. We were in this big storm.
That's a storm. 6 months,
And
day after
it
day. That's
was
a grind.
it was serious. It really was serious. And it was times when I was like, you know what? I probably don't need to be dealing with this. But I didn't leave him because, one, I saw that he needed somebody to have his back during this time. And two, I made the commitment to be with him. And it's not my character to just leave somebody high and dry. And
Amen.
he knew that. So I held him down. We held each other down, because the storm, it was really just his storm, but it became our storm because I ended up getting involved with it.
Right.
And because I was standing by his side.
Right.
So, um, he knew that I wasn't leaving him. And he even tried to get me to leave him, but it didn't
Really?
work.
How'd
It
that reverse
didn't.
psychology work? Because men, like, let me share my position. I believe that women are stronger than men. Men, we can be wimpy. Oh, why you with me? And this and that happening, and I ain't making no money. This and that. What you doing here? Yeah, you go with somebody who's interested, and like, we can really get in the little soapbox and knowing good and well we need all the support we need, but we'll push away the very help that's here, keeping us,
Mhm.
holding that umbrella up while we trying to finagle through this storm. So talk to me about that. Like, what was why he tried to hit you with the reverse, like, go ahead.
Because, I mean, it got rough, right? And because of how hard it became, it was kind of like, he wanted me to just back out of it. And I was like, okay.
To protect
And
you.
yeah,
Right.
And
Oh, that
because
sound like a man. That sound like a man.
yeah, and to protect me, and because emotions were all over the place. Guys don't believe they have emotions. I was listening to this guy at the hair salon yesterday. He said women are emotional. No, you guys are emotional too. Guys are emotional. Y'all just show it differently. So, he was in his emotions about what was going on. And back then I was not mature enough to know what was happening, that he was just trying to protect me. But I was like, okay, I moved down here for no reason and da 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 da. And I think like a couple hours later I texted him and I was like, look, I'm sorry for going off on you like that because the Lord told me to.
This was that.
And
This was that communication thing. You need to watch how you talk to me. That was that that girl came out. That old I don't know what we call it. Ashley Walker came out.
yes, she came out and I was like, okay, I apologized to him. And he told me to come to the house. So I came to the house and we sat and we talked. And, you know, that's when we made the decision to make it even more concrete that, this is it. We're not leaving each other. Like we all we got. This is it. And storms are designed to destroy. Like they leave destruction everywhere they go,
Yeah,
no
we
matter
look at
how light the storm is.
the biggest storm. I mean, look at Katrina. I mean, they said there's areas in New Orleans still haven't been
Revitalized.
rehabbed, and out here. I don't know if you heard like Hurricane Sandy. You
I
heard
was
that?
there.
Yeah, like there's still areas down the shore that's affected by, and storms are challenging, and I just when it comes to dating or anything in life, I just wish they were perceived like, yo, get your jogging pants on, and to stay in that storm, like you said, I can name a few storms in my life, but like you said, 6 months to a year, like that's a day in and day out. That's yo,
Continual
that's
stress.
that's the
Yeah.
Lord, yeah, purifying, man.
Yep.
You so how was that? Take me to that moment when you went over and y'all talked about it. Did it at least lighten the burden?
It did. Because well, I told you he already knew I wasn't going anywhere, but it did
Well,
lighten the
let me
burden
help you
because
out with the psyche of a man. Deep down, he was like, man, she out. Yeah, like that's something we battle with. Like, yeah, like we, you know, um, in years, R. Kelly messed us all up with that. When a woman fed up, yeah. So back in my mind, like a woman has a limit. Women, they, some are ride and some like he probably deep down inside. When you came to his place, he was like, "Whew," yeah. Thinking about that, what came to my mind, I'm a huge Martin Lawrence fan, and there was a scene where he was like, well, you could go out, you could get the stuff. Then he was like, Gina, 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 Gina,
yes,
Gina. Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah. So take me to that. Like, how was that? I'm sure it was tough and in relationships, storms, more often than not that more depending on if y'all are on your job, more infrequently than frequently, you have to have hard conversations. You have to have them, and they're not sexy. They're not nothing erotic about them, and you have to. We gotta talk about this. And how
They can
was
be
that?
painful.
Yeah.
Um, when we had that conversation, you know, we had no distractions, first of all, and we just had to, just sit down and talk about it. Just be um real with each other and talk about what we didn't like and what we needed. That was most important. We talked about what we needed. We needed something from each other. And a lot of times I feel like people are afraid to tell people exactly what they need. So we talked about that, and we talked about how we are going to move, how we're going to create a path to get through all of the debris that was already in front of us. And we had to take a moment to heal. That moment to heal was a hug. It was shedding some tears. It was, being comforted for being vulnerable. We had to, all of that happened in that conversation. I think that conversation was like, I don't know, an hour or two. It was a long conversation because things needed to be said. So that was the conversation.
Wow. We can end on that note. I mean, it's joy in the morning. I mean, it was hurtful,
Mm-hmm.
but like you said, it had to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it couldn't have happened without a storm. That's the point I'm trying to drive. Like when they come, lock arms. Don't point the finger because oh man. Self-inflicted wounds hurt the most.
Yes, they do.
Self-inflicted. Sometimes life is just gonna happen and you gotta deal with it. But I can do something that can really derail my household, and yet the person that I hurt that is called to help me, I got nerve to ask for her help now. Like, dog, if you was on your job, we wouldn't even be in it, and vice versa. She can do something,
Mm-hmm.
and the storm comes, self-inflicted, and now she's banking on me, and it's dissension, and it's like, let's just try to be intentional with seeking out of Ashley J or watching DVDs. Or, I mean, one thing I can say about God is that He put the information here. Like, it's tons of we got you, Glenn P. Brooks. I mean, it's so many people that have helped you, stay on the narrow street. Ain't
Mm-hmm.
many room. It ain't a lot of room. It's narrow, but it's
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 real
enough
narrow.
room. It is narrow. And look, uh, I hate to promise you this, but 9 times out of 10, you and our brother Tyreek got some more storms coming.
Oh
But
yeah.
be encouraged. Be encouraged. Me and my lady, we got them, and I think that when you look at these social media relationships or the statement of a picture is worth 1,000 words, we capture a moment that look nice and we may covet that. And we don't show the storms. We don't talk about the storms. The reason how me and my lady are effective is because she had faith in me in the storm. I had faith for her in the storm, and we're still in the storm. And I think at storm is always coming. You've
Mm-hmm.
been on the beach before. Sometimes the tide is high. Sometimes you be like, man, but sometimes you could go there in the morning, but by the afternoon, you better back up.
Yeah.
So the storm is always there. Sometimes you go to the beach, you're like, man, the water came all the way back here. Like you just, that I think the storm is always hovering. I just think the more cracks you have and the more you don't let the Lord mend them cracks, I think, man, that glass may shatter. And thank you for just being there for our brother Tyreek. Yo, that is such a hood name. Yo, every time I think, because I know some bull named Tyreek, and I ain't really like this dude. Like I remember because I was cool with his brother, and his brother name was Tyreek, and Tyreek was always like a weird, strange dude, man. Just off. That brother was off, man. Like, but yeah, thank you, Ashley. We did it. Geez. I gotta cut it because I want to open up another door, but I want to save that to what you're doing. Let's talk about that for a little bit. What you started this year, why you're going live every week, and basically what's the purpose of it and why you're doing it. Because I would like to come on your
Okay.
show.
So you want me to talk about the talk show or my lives?
No, the talk show. Well, the live is to support the talk show, right? For the most part, right?
Well, I keep them separate because
Oh, you do? Okay.
yeah.
Now I want to talk
So,
about the talk show. I want to talk about the
okay,
talk
so
show.
the talk show is called The Love Experience. And the reason why I created this talk show is because I know I've had plenty of different love experiences. And I talk about my love experiences on the show. Um, and each one of those experiences were different. And if I was having those experiences, if I had bad luck with relationships and, did dumb things in relationships or whatever, somebody else out there does too. And everybody has a story. Everybody has an experience with love. I don't care how much you don't think you do, you do. Everybody has some type of experience with love. And that experience is what I want people to come on my show and talk about. So I've had people, my first guest, he talked about relationship with self and, finding yourself before you were able to find that person for you. I've had my second guest talked about weathering the storm or being her and her husband, how they were two ships in the night. And they were on different playing fields, and she talked about how they got it together, the adjustments that had to be made. The guests that I had last Thursday, they talked about how they were teenage parents and how they got married at 18 and 19, and they've been married for 47 years. So they talked about all of the things, some of the, not all of it, but some of the things that they've gone through and how they have been able to stay together for 47 years. That is an entire lifetime. They've been together for almost their whole lives.
Double their lives with triple. What's 18 times 2? 36. I mean, double and a half almost.
Right. So everybody had all of those experiences are different. Everybody has a different experience, and those experiences can help somebody. That's the goal of my show, is to help somebody who might be going through a difficult time in a relationship. And my story may not be something that can help them, but my guest story can. So
Yeah, I
that's
think you got a small batch. I mean, relocation, online dating, that leave all the work to us. Don't you ain't got we ain't got many Tyreeks and and Ashleys. It ain't many, you know.
no, it's not. But I mean, somebody can benefit from hearing somebody's story. So that's what this show is about.
All right, well, let me know when you want me to come on and talk about my love experience. What you go live, or is it a show? How you do it? What's your format?
So what I do is I have a Zoom room for it,
Okay.
and then through Zoom, I stream to Facebook and YouTube, and
Okay.
that's the show. We have the show. I got a whole intro that I do on everything. Um,
Is it live?
yeah, it's a live stream, and I take questions and comments from the people that are watching, and we it's like we're doing right now is exactly how the show is, except I
So
don't talk as
yeah, I
much.
didn't know you can go live to Facebook from Zoom. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
So
what's
like I said, it's just the spotlight is on my guests. I don't talk as much. I let them give them the time to talk about their story, share their story. If I need to clarify a certain area in the story, then I will. But
you've been getting some good feedback. Some
people
chatter.
love it.
Oh
People are
yeah.
loving it. Yep.
Mm. Yeah, personal for me. And this may sound strange, but personal stories actually touch me and influence me better than sometimes just somebody just reading the Bible.
Yeah.
Hearing someone personal thing and what the Bible did for them, what the word did, what the Lord did for them, that gets me more than someone just running off, scripture.
Yeah.
But yeah, like hearing people, I'm like, wow, like man, teenagers and y'all been locked down for 47 years. That's a lot of change, and that's a lot of therapy. Yo,
Yeah.
that's a lot. Whether they don't want to, that's a lot of like, how do you flirt when you've been with someone 30 years? Like,
They still do.
you know what I mean?
You can
Yeah.
see the connection, and yeah, it's there.
That's a lot of storms, Ashley.
Yes, it is.
Yo, 47 years. Yo, that's, and they, and I despise social media relationships and TV, how it's always presented, and the fantasies. And I feel sorry for y'all. Like my daughters, like Disney messed y'all all up. Like, yo,
Prince Charming.
Disney did a job on females. And my daughters, it's so sad. Like because I'm dad. And Disney, like, so dad just got to ride whatever. I'm supposed to just, all right, I got to ride with you. But Disney is the devil, man. Yo, I was watching this show. I took my daughters to see this movie called Wreck-It Ralph, right? And I didn't even know, and I watch it, whether you want to call me a girl dad, whatever you want, I watch it. I got a couple chick flicks I like. I like, what is it called? The Notebook. The name's escaping me. With Adam Sandler, when the girl was a little slow in the head. What was the name of that movie?
First Date.
Yeah, that. I got a few other ones. I can run them off, but there's a scene in Wreck-It Ralph, Ashley, where they show like all the Disney princesses, like just females in general. Yo, it was like 12 of them. I think maybe 10. And I looked at I forgot half of them. And I'm like, yo, Disney messed all them chicks up. And they was huddling around talking to this little girl in Wreck-It Ralph. And I'm like, yo, all Disney done messed the female gender. They even had a black girl in there, Moana. Yeah. They had another one. I don't know the girl named Princess and the Frog. I can't remember her name.
Tiana.
That's her name? Yeah. Yo, Disney messed y'all all up. I think Disney is the devil, and I don't care. That's my story. I'm sticking to it because us as men, we got to deal with all this. Because men, guys, we grew up with, I don't know, Tonka truck and, wild crazy. We jump off the bunk bed, break our neck. We ain't nothing sensitive about us, like, and it's messed up, man. So, I don't even care if Disney stock is selling at a penny. I don't even want y'all money. And then, but what's interesting, eventually I'm gonna have to take my daughters to Disney eventually, and so I gotta drink the Kool-Aid. So I think Disney is, they messed us up, and you are a victim of it, and it's messed up. Now, I guess it's just part of the female thing, but I'm beefing with Disney, and that's my story. I'm sticking to it. That's a storm. Disney is a storm.
Disney is
nah, it's cool. Straight up, man. All right, look. You are a female, granted. You understand where I'm coming from, though. At least.
I definitely do. Like, they paint this picture of this is what your dream guy is going to be like, and that picture is false.
No, I took my daughters to see, this was like a year or two ago, the latest Aladdin with Will Smith.
Okay.
And when that brother picked her up on that carpet and started flying through that air, I was looking at my daughters. You would have thought they were on that carpet ride. And I just was like, and I was like, they're going to grow up, be teenagers, meet a guy, and they think I don't even know the chick name, the princess. I know Aladdin. I don't even remember her name. Jasmine. They probably think they Jasmine. And this dude is so rude. I'm like, yo, Jasmine, wake up. I'm telling you, man, I think Disney demonic, man. I hope they hear me, man. Yeah, they cast a spell on y'all. I don't know what happened. Men, we don't get a Disney. What we get? Nah, but this was good though, man. I appreciate you. And who you got a guest for next week?
I do not. I need a guest for next week.
So what day do you do it?
Every Thursday at 4:00.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that don't work for me. I get off work at 5. If I get off work at 5, you know.
Okay.
But we'll do that. I would like to be a part of that if you don't mind. And we can revisit this conversation about the video Paraclete I had.
Yes.
Yeah, about women being a support. That's a storm too. Them two gentlemen in that video. I should play it real quick, but nah. But I mean, just in times where a storm happened, and she stuck by him.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean a lot for men. When you put your faith in a woman and she stick beside you, and as you know, all men, me, Tariq, men need help, whether they want to fight it or not.
Yes.
Men need help. And look, this was good, Ash.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, but we'll revisit next time I come in your space, and we just go from there.
Okay.
And I hope all is well. Tell Tariq I said hi, and
I will.
I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, take care.
Bye.